I'm going to drop a couple bombs on the FD channel right now.
It's very flattering that people are calling us the West Coast Nationals. I don't think we're there yet.
Who are you rolling with?
I am rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
We are rolling with FD.
I feel like I see less patience in the hobby today. And I want to get your thoughts on that. When you hear of the large dollar amounts now around PMGs, what do you think?
What it takes for someone to spend that much money on any card.
Fanatics did something tonight I had never heard about. They have a lottery.
We got you on the lot.
Oh my goodness, we're both on the line.
Hey, Nick, you got to let me know who you're rolling with.
I'm rolling with FD.
Hey, Tony and Oz, who you rolling with? And y'all,
you know we rolling with FD, baby.
Hey, Renee, who you rolling with?
Rolling with FD.
I don't think that the fact that they did Be Friends and Jackass is going to have any impact on how they treat sports cards.
So I asked you FD since we're rolling with FD.
Let's roll, William. What's up?
I never would have thought a little piece of cardboard would change my life the way it has in the last 4 years.
And the hobby is alive and well.
Alive and doing very well.
Alive and well.
You got to let people know who you rolling.
I'm rolling with FD.
Who you rolling?
I'm rolling with FD.
So go, Word.
I'm rolling with FD.
You got to let the people know who you're rolling with, man.
Well, obviously I'm rolling with FD.
Hey, it's Monday, November 7th. I'm very excited to have our guest here today. Someone I've watched his material. He probably doesn't even know that I've watched this stuff. And I've wanted to talk to him for quite a while. We have Jmac here. He has great information on cards, investing, great mind. Let me bring him in.
Rolling with FD.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for the invitation. Looking forward to chatting it up with you.
Oh, yeah. So let's kick it off by, I'm from Chicago. Born and raised, grew up there. Moved around a little bit for work and school. But tell me, where are you from? Where are you at now? And kind of how you got into the hobby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm originally from a small town in eastern North Carolina, about an hour and a half from the coast in North Carolina. Tarboro is the town. You probably never heard of it, obviously. But then I went to school and took a job in Atlanta. Lived there for about 7 years, Atlanta, Georgia. And then moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. Lived there for about 4 or 5 years. And then just recently, when the real estate boom was occurring, I really kind of hit the top of it. I sold my house, and then my wife's parents had moved and retired in Arkansas, just north of Little Rock, and so we came and kind of followed them. And cost of living's real low, so we sort of semi-retired. I'm still hustling, still doing things, but definitely don't have to work as hard anymore, to make it. So
good thing. Congratulations, sir. Congratulations. Well, how did you originally get introduced into the hobby?
Oh yeah, so the hobby, junk wax era. I jumped in. I was 87, 88. A kid, just like these young kids right now that are, jumped into the hobby during the pandemic. It was that same kind of vibe during the junk wax era, and so man, I took every dollar I had, every bit of allowance, any chores I could do was buying packs and boxes of cards. They're all worthless now, but it was fun.
We learned.
Yeah. So that's and then I stayed. Obviously, I still old school collected through the years. Just buying a box a year or so. Even as an adult, I would still buy a box here or there, but I didn't new school collect. When I say new school, I mean, like grading and flipping and doing all the things we all do now, or a lot of people do. But I did, I was luckily I did buy boxes throughout all the years. So I had, pretty good rookie. I had all the rookies of, KD, Steph, just about everybody, just from buying a box or two here and there each year,
That's a very good strategy. I know I got mixed up in, going to school. Tim Duncan came out. Being in school, Garnett came out. Kobe came out. I was in college. Like these are all years that I kind of took time off collecting. Luckily, yeah.
To that point, I miss Kobe. I miss Kobe and Tim Duncan. I was how old are you, FD?
47.
47. I'm 43. So I was right around that age. I was high school, just kind of disconnected. I wasn't buying then. Yeah.
Yeah, but and it's kind of cool now that you get a chance to go back and try to get some stuff that you never thought you would have in the past, or something that got by you. I'll still never understand why people know how much I love Tim Duncan, why his market isn't greater unless you got some really rare stuff. I'm always shocked at that.
Yeah. Yeah, and similar, cards that Kobe sells for, 5-10x Tim Duncan. There's quite a few players like that are just way undervalued, in terms of even like I know one of the questions we might be talking about some NBA, players and stuff, and I looked up that the 75th, the top 75 that the NBA put out, and Duncan is right up there in the top 20.
Oh yeah, 5 rings, man. It's not like people may say, "Oh, I can understand Vince Carter's not worth a lot. He won a championship." Tim won 5. Even if he won one on the shortened season, he won 4. Quiet guy.
Actually, I think he's top 15 in that, wasn't he? He's like, yeah. I mean, most people consider him the best power forward, ever. So sorry, he was 9. He was 9 on the list. Sorry.
Yeah. This is a very quiet guy. A guy who didn't like press conferences talking to people. Maybe that plays a role, but
yeah.
I think when you're that quiet, you get lost in the mix.
Right. And the team with Pop and all that, it was a system kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. So we got Demetrius here I went to high school with. Demetrius says, "What's up, FD? Good to see the homie Jmac on the show."
What's up, Demetrius?
Yeah, that's right. From the bench. Hey, boys. What's up from the bench? It's good to have you here.
Yeah.
Let's talk also. We talked about sports cards, but I know you have a channel where you talk about much more than sports cards. So tell us about some of your investment ideas, recommendations you've given in the past, or some stuff that you're high on, you think about, you talk about, you invest in.
Yeah. Well, so that's how I got on YouTube, why it was fairly easy to then transition. Actually, the funny thing is, I got another investing YouTube channel, and it's I mean, the whole investing landscape is just like the hobby, but stocks and stuff started falling both earlier, and so that one's it's almost dead. A lot of I actually went through and looked through a bunch of the investing channels that I've been connected with over the years, and a lot of them are dead right now.
You think is that because of the market? You think, or what do you think?
Yeah, because people are on. I mean, it's a lot like the hobby where people are only excited when stuff's going up, and
Sure.
so
but I get excited when things go down.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the thing. But like, it just content doesn't catch in this kind of stuff. People don't watch stuff. Like if I did make a video saying, right now, and I have, and I'm like, now is the time to do research on companies, to do due diligence, to really dig in and find undervalued stuff. Same thing in the sports card hobby. All right. They're similar, but they're not. We'll talk about some of that later. But yeah, so but I guess my kind of claim to fame was my channel kind of grew in the investing community. I was covering a portion of stocks that no one else really was, and they're called SPACs. And so he used to have they were real hot for a while, for about a year, and I had gear and everything. I was the SPAC man, and I had a Pac-Man icon on it, and but there's special purpose acquisition companies. It's like a kind of a loophole to come public without for like private companies that aren't quite ready to go public. It's like a loophole.
Okay.
So I was interviewing all these CEOs of these companies that were coming public via a SPAC, and a couple of them there was some controversy. So where controversy sometimes I guess the way we think of controversy, it's a bad thing, but in the way content creation is sometimes there's really no bad publicity. You know, bad pub can sometimes get you. It can have you grow. You know, so like we see
it, make people want to watch something. Yeah,
we see it in the sports. We see the channels. You know that do the you know, controversial things are the ones that are really churning in the views. So I'm trying not to go that route with my channel, but you know, I if you want to stay relevant, you got to, you know, you got to touch on some topics maybe that are a little bit controversial. But as far as investing, what I would say right now is exactly what I was just saying. I mean, there's some really good companies that are, and that's what I would, if I were to go back and do it all over again, because that side of stocks that I was looking at, or I would say they're similar to penny stocks. They're very risky. So I'm not going to name any of those company names because I don't want nobody looking into them.
Yeah.
Even though some might actually be 1,000x company, it's just very risky. So, you know, your blue chip companies, but the ones that are going to stay relevant, like Apple, you know, Amazon's, you know, Tesla, the ones that are kind of disrupting the old guard that are, and they're still, while they may seem like they're already pretty big, they can still grow. And what'll happen is, like in the old days, like AT&T, and some of the old telecom companies, you know, they like a bunch of companies came out from under them. So you had these stock splits that were occurring, and you were getting these companies breaking off of AT&T. And so AT&T's been a very good stock, but if you held it for like 20 or 30 years, you had all of these other stocks that split off of it, and you became wealthy off of AT&T, even though it's not a great company or a great stock. It's just the dynamics of investing, you know, sometimes allow for you to still do. It's just, you know, there's a compounding effect and stuff that happens in investing that happens nowhere else.
So when you look at investment opportunities, well, I'm gonna tie this in the cards. You know, in the card world, a lot of flipping goes on. There's short-term buys in stocks as well. How do you kind of determine what you hold longer compared to what you may hold shorter?
Yeah. Well, it's almost because I had that mindset of kind of where I was in investing. When there's a bull run, I was just talking about this on my live stream the other night. When there's like a bull run, when the market's hot, then it's okay to prospect and you know, and do the things that we were seeing, like you know, a lot of the channels that you know they made their living on that, the bread and butter on flipping, you know, buying stuff, grading it, flipping, getting 2-3x. So same thing applied in investing. You know, you could get penny stocks. It was okay to buy penny stocks, and you could see them, you know, 10x, 20x. So, you know, so anyway, I've had to also kind of reset here with the hobby and recalibrate. And now, you know, it's really like, so longer term approach for me is you know, the Brady's, the Curry's, the LeBron's, so I'm not really doing much.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The legends of the game.
Legends and the proven, because I've almost completely cut out prospecting. Now, if a deal is just too good, let's say someone's like steal my cards, not literally, but
I know
you know what I mean. It's quite a few prospects, but they're giving them to me for pennies on the dollar, and they're just like, you know, I know I know I'm selling them for cheap. I just don't want them anymore. Here, take them. All right, I'll do that. You know, but me intentionally, I'm not prospecting anymore. You know what I mean? So that's the recalibration that's occurred for me over the past few months is just, and so that shows I'll set up and I'll be like, people come up and say, "Are you buying?" And then I say, "Well, I got a list on my table. You know, it's yes, yeah, I'm buying only Brady, the list. You know, Steph, just the list and vintage. If you got vintage, I'll take a look at vintage and the list."
So you're not tapping into Herbert, Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Wilson, Hurts, none of these guys.
Sold every one of them I had. So I've sold every one. I ain't keeping not one of them. I had, last, I just consigned. I had like a gold Josh Allen, a nice silver Herbert. I just released all of them in the last few weeks. So, yeah.
What took you down that path? Is it just because you think that stuff is too volatile for you?
It was like it was really a combination of a few events. One of them it's funny. I bought a small collection, and it was a collection from it was football, mostly football, a little bit of basketball, but it was from late 90s to like 2007 or 8, right? And there was a lot of chrome, there was a lot of refractors, it was a lot of cool stuff, stuff. A lot of young people today that are getting in the hobby have never seen. Just amazing looking stuff. Here, I mean, I got a few this is a Warwick Dunn. He's a legend. It's a refractor. It's numbered to 500. That kind of stuff was in this collection. But the point is, I went through this collection and so like I said, this topped out at about 07, 08, this collection, the players.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing how many of those rookies and prospects didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
So on top of what had been going on, Trey Lance going down, all these guys going down, young guys going down, and then getting that collection and saying, man, literally 95% of these guys are, like this work done. If you pulled this, a year ago in a product, a top product like a Prism, I say this was a Prism to 500 and it was the top player, then I'd sell that for $50 or something. This is probably a $5 or less card right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And he's a good player. He's got I looked up his stats. He's got like 13,000 rushing yards.
Oh, he's a wonderful player. He's the most successful small back in probably NFL history.
Yeah, and his refractor to 500 is $5. So let that be a lesson to any young bucks watching. That here's another one. This is pretty crazy. The second greatest wide receiver of all time.
Yeah,
here's
that's 2,500. And I have a card from that same year of Kobe Bryant. Yeah,
and check it. This is about a $5 card. So, but this was that was a low serial number back in the day, 2,500.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, that was an eye opener.
These are the things that I think about once you've watched sports for a while, once you've collected for years, you see things. It's not brand new. I say this all the time. It is not like what you're talking about. You're talking about Warwick Dunn, probably one of the best running backs in NFL history. But today we talk about Alvin Kamara. We talk about Saquon Barkley. We talk about people like they're the first person to run the football.
Exactly. And I would say like if I were at a show and someone had a couple of these, even maybe like I think the gold refractors at a 50, and they had them for $20 or $30. I buy them all up because this is a proven guy. So I'd rather do that than go buy some quarterback or some some receiver, Justin Jefferson. These guys they're probably gonna be. There's a good chance one of them. 1, 2, 3 of them are going to be Hall of Famers, but this is like I said, Randy Moss is statistically the second best receiver ever to play the game.
Yes,
no rings, but stats say he's the second best, and his cards are $5 or so. Good cards, $5 to $10 you can get them for. So I'm not going to be spending hundreds of dollars on Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson right now when the floor on those guys is going to be. There's a long way that they could go down,
I respect that a lot. I say similar things a lot. It's probably unpopular with a lot of people. A lot of people hear that like, nah, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you may go ahead.
Think about how many players you can name who was on a course of being just a great player, blew a knee out. Something happened. And then they just couldn't. Like this right here from the bench. Antonio Brown could have gone down as a top 5 to 10 receiver. I mean, he was on pace to blow records out.
Oh, he was breaking records. He was, 130, 40 catches in 1 year or something like that.
And I always say he changed when he took that hit with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
His whole career changed. Probably his whole life.
Changed. That's it. It could, people say that and when prospecting was really really hot, you could say that, and then people just turn up the nose and be like, okay, here's
crazy. I think you're crazy. You're talking crazy.
Yeah, you talking crazy. This guy's gonna be he's the next, the next greatest thing ever. But it's just not reality of how life goes and how sports go. Sports it's a high churn. It's not, especially football. It's not you don't have long careers in football.
No, you don't. And I think that's why people get so excited about quarterbacks. So that's why the position is going to play the longest, take the fewest hits, but then you still got to be exceptional to be able to be under that kind of pressure and play that game. I always say that the quarterback position is one of the hardest positions to play in modern day sports. Like today, we just got a word that Josh Allen probably has a ligament tear in his elbow on his throwing arm.
I know, and he's the one that will.
Who foresaw that?
He's the one that, like, even like some guys that talk like that are talking like me right now, who were saying, I still would invest in, or they still, like I said, they're still calling it investing, but it's still prospecting, even on Josh Allen because he's never won a ring. But they would say he seems like a fairly safe investment. Even some guys that only collect vintage and all these other things. They'd be like, yeah, I'd still hang on to my Josh Allen's. You know what I mean? And the bad thing is, like I said, my gold Allen is on auction right now through a consigner, so that sucked. But
that's such a rare card. That's still gonna hold. That's gonna hold.
Yeah. Well, and Buffalo's got a crazy fan base, so they're still gonna buy them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's still gonna happen. Feed the Gods is there. Good evening. Thank you for being here. From the bench says shouldn't have to stray from the controversial convos if it's actually a good point. Only time it gets annoying is when people start reaching just to make a video or content.
That's a good point. Yeah, I like that.
Peter God says he's on Justin Jefferson. They just need the floor to be lower, like Jmac just said.
Yeah.
Prime example, Aaron Foster.
Terrell Davis.
Terrell Davis. Who was the running back for the Kansas City Chiefs? Can't remember his name right now.
I just bought a card of his recently. Jamal Charles.
Yeah, excellent player.
Christian Okoye. Nigerian Nightmare.
I think Ward was a good running back as well. There's been so many people you can name. There've been
Tiki Barber.
There's been defensive ends you could name. That tight ends you could name. And then you even got a Tony Gonzalez, who is legendary tight end. Hobby doesn't really speak to him.
Yeah, and he was. I had some crazy stuff of his in that collection too, Tony. Because I graded one, like a second or third year, awesome looking refractor. And I said, because sometimes it's if they're Hall of Fames like that, if it grades well, someone will buy it in the slab. But they like the raw stuff, they're not picking it up no more. So
true, because a lot of people think about how long has that card been sitting raw. What's the possibility of it being chipped, scratched, fingerprints on it, whatever, creased?
Exactly.
And so, that's why now you have some as soon as stuff comes out of packs, we're grading it.
Yeah. And then
Clinton Portis. Clinton Portis is a great player.
Oh yeah. Several guys. My guy. I'm from so when I first moved out of the little town I grew up in, I moved to a little bigger town, Greenville, North Carolina, which is East Carolina University. Mm-hmm. Chris Johnson played there. So, he's one of the, I think 3 players have rushed for 2,000 yards. He was one of them that rushed for 2,000 yards. And he was doing that in college. I saw him play at East Carolina. So he was good.
Jamal Lewis. We could just keep naming people that the hobby doesn't really embrace.
Or even no, probably.
Yeah, we should do that. I should do that one time. Just come through a car show with some graded high of a player that's like, you're not trading for this. You're not looking for this. You're not looking for that. Jamal.
But the thing is, if there's cases with stuff like that in it, newer collectors won't pay any attention. But me and you, or people like me and you, I'll be at that table. You can believe that.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Who was the MVP for MLB?
Do they announce it?
They haven't announced it yet.
I don't think so.
Hero 3. I don't think they've announced it yet. Hero 3, thanks for being here. From the bench. Is the argument here, though, that those players' prices should be higher or that the new guys should be lower? I think it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. And I think we're saying that in the future, the guys that are higher, the young ladies that are higher now, where will they be 20 years from now? They'd probably be someone saying, I've never heard of that person.
And I will counter and say that and that's why I was talking about like when I bought that collection, it was actually a collection that was having kept in good condition. So I was able to grade quite a few of these. And so my thing is, I think people are they get tired of, you're hearing it now. I see it in some videos of people that are walking around and like, you start looking at the case and you see the same thing over and over and over and over again. I think people will start, if they don't go to vintage, they'll go to like this, early 90s, 2000s, whatever era that you came from, you're likely to gravitate back towards that at some point once you get burnt on new stuff.
Well, I mean, let's just think about it, though. We're talking about Mac Jones. We can name off a bunch of quarterbacks, for instance. Let's say none of them pan out. There's a probability that none of them. If you think about the 80s, the 90s, and the early 2000s, there's only certain quarterbacks that you're going to really talk about. And think about how many quarterbacks came through the draft, came through these teams. How many quarterbacks have the Jets had just over time since Kenny O'Brien? Just running them through. Now, I don't know if the players today are that much better than the players that came before. We can talk about them. The cards may sparkle more. They may have an autograph on card. We're going to be, I've said this before, we're going to be at a time and space where you're going to have a card, autographed on card, PSA 10, or even a BGS 10, with a piece of material that was worn in a game of a top quarterback today that will be worth nothing later. You'll look at that card, you'll be like, man, this card looks amazing. And it's not really worth anything.
And you'll be like, really? He's got a $15 sticker on that thing, and I can buy it. And someone,
that card was $5,000.
And someone's gonna buy it just for nostalgia. Be like, I'm just gonna buy that anyway, And it's so funny.
That's the hobby.
Love what you collect. There you go. She's in the building.
Love what you collect. What's up? I'm rolling. Jmac, my guy, one of my favorite people.
We met haphazardly at the National 2 years ago, and we rode on the bus together, on the shuttle bus from our hotel, and we talked the whole time. We were talking about
National in Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
I was at that.
That was my first one.
Next time we all got to meet up.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'll go in Chicago. I didn't go to Atlantic City, but I like the area of Chicago it was in, and that's a good show. And I'll be back probably this year at the Chicago one.
Okay. All right. I'm planning.
Yeah, let's hook up.
I'm definitely get in contact with you. Zerny Holloway, what's up, FD? What's going on? What is going on? Hero 3, Tennessee needs a QB ASAP. Oh, but Hero, I'm gonna argue this. Tannehill's not a quarterback. Tannehill's not who you want. So Tennessee has needed a quarterback way before Willis. What Willis showed to me more versatility as a quarterback than Tannehill has ever shown. And I'm going back to Tannehill in Miami. Why do you think A.J. Brown and Julio wanted to get up out of there? They don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, but also Tennessee's just a weird. It's not a weird. It's a rare team that even like you'd really have to have a real good quarterback to say that the team is not being run through the running back. The team's being run through Derrick Henry.
100%.
And there, that's worked sometimes, but not. I don't think there's ever really been a Super Bowl team in a modern era that's worked through. But like Barry Sanders, the Detroit Lions ran through him. Through the playoffs couple times, but you can never get it done like that. But
not a long time.
But but to me, it's just phenomenal that in this era of aired out football, a team is still running their team through the running back.
And what I see Tennessee as is a spoiler team. Like they may meet someone in the playoffs and change who wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they just about
was on their heels last night.
That's what I'm saying. They just about really. I mean, they they were beating up the Chiefs every which way.
Yeah. Then it came down like what we're talking about. It came down to that quarterback. And what are you going to do? Now you start throwing people at him and changing the scheme at the snap. I mean, that's going to confuse a guy, any guy, but also a guy from Liberty. You probably never seen anything like this.
Yeah, he was back fourth and or third and like 34, and
he's still trying to run the ball, taking the snap, trying to go for it. That doesn't work like that out here, man.
Yeah.
From the bench says it's hard for a running back to stay healthy for 20 games. It's hard for a running back, man, to stay healthy for a full season. Very hard.
It is. That's why you look at the greats and they a lot of them are 9-year careers or 8-year careers, running backs.
And then when you see him later in life, you got to think Jim Brown retired at 29. He took a lot of hits though in that short career. Should the Chiefs look for a new kicker or ride or die with Butker?
I think Butker got hurt, so he's coming back from injury. They're working him back in. But Butker was a good kicker, though. He was a good kicker.
He was. I used to play football.
Yeah, I don't know if injuries changed him, but because he was clutch. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on now. Can't call it.
When you look at the NFL, who do you see in the Super Bowl?
This year, I mean, I could definitely see the Eagles if the roster stays together in the NFC. AFC, I mean, there's a lot going on, but even like I know you're Rams guy, right? LA?
No, sir. I live in LA. No, sir. I kind of root for the Bears, being from Chicago, but I could never root for the Rams.
Okay. But it's I think in the beginning of the year, everyone was like the best teams are in the AFC, the AFC, but smarter folks were saying they're going to beat each other up, and that's what's happening in the AFC because you got all this good quarterback play, but injuries start kicking in. So I don't know. I mean, I was probably thinking Buffalo, but if Allen goes out with the torn.
I thought Buffalo versus Philly would have been a great Super Bowl.
I was probably still would never count out the Bucks with Brady, even with whatever their record is.
I wouldn't. As you saw last night.
That's right. I would never count him out.
He'll keep creeping.
Yep.
Until he's in there.
Well, see, I'm a Panther fan, and it's terrible because he's in our division. I'm ready for that guy to go.
Well, Carolina, man. I mean,
I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, Cam never really. I mean, this is another player. This is another player. Freak injury to his throwing shoulder, trying to tackle someone on an interception.
And never the same after that.
Never the same. Really shot putting the ball, forcing the ball. After that,
he was already fairly inaccurate. But he was streaky. He was kind of like a streaky shooter. Like if he was hot, he could have a game where you're like, wow, he's definitely a great passer. But then the next game, he throw 3 picks.
Yeah. And then run after 3 picks.
Well, he always ran for and still first down and everything. Yeah, I was excited.
Like, dude, you know what you just did? Abel says, "What's up, Abel DS? Good to have you here. Remember Priest Holmes? Yeah, Priest Holmes.
Oh yeah,
Priest Holmes is something special." From the bench, wait. I was told my take that Malik Willis was being pumped to give the draft some QB excitement in the draft was wrong, and that he should have been first rounder or not a fourth rounder. LOL. He thinks. I'm just from the bench, and I was saying something about this last time on another live. I'm just from the school of today. People come in and we think they're supposed to Pro Bowl, NBA All-Star, Finals MVP, just right now. That's not how it's ever worked.
Yeah, we're some old heads because we think just alike. Like every time someone starts talking about like even like Mac Jones or Trevor Lawrence, they're trash after one game. I'm like, no one knows what these guys are going to be right now. No one knows.
I think Steve Young was with the Tampa Bay Bucks. not really getting anything done for a long time. Went to the 49ers, played behind somebody. I mean, you can think back to Jeff Hostetler behind Phil Simms. There's just so many players you can name.
Brady behind.
Yeah, Brady.
Rodgers.
Doug Flutie came to the Bears. Ditka had him in a 7-step drop. He was horrible. But that's not what fit his. Ditka was trying to push him into something. That's not what fit him. Goes to Buffalo. I mean, you know, a lot of times in football, it's about coaching, systems, and then who is the player, and then what can they get done. Willis came from a small school. We just got to see who this guy is. He got thrown into something last night. He's playing against the top team in the NFL.
Right.
I don't know if I call him trash. I don't know if he say me personally, from the bench, I respect what you're saying. But I don't know if I would say he stinks. I still say he's back. I would rather have him back there than who was back there before.
Right. And they were making the right decision of letting them develop. So he should develop for a year, you know, behind a NFL quarterback and an NFL team and coach. Because Vrabel's a good coach, you know.
Vrabel, I think he's a great coach.
Very smart. I mean, you can see what he learned, some of the stuff he learned from Belichick, and you've seen a lot of the Belichick coaching tree not pan out, but he's one of them that gets it.
Mm-hmm. True. From the bench says if the Cowgirls could get a double-digit lead on the Eagles in the playoffs early on, it's over for the Eagles. I hate both teams, but I don't believe Jalen is one of it in the air. From the bench, are you a Cowboys fan? Sounds like a Cowboys fan talking.
Yeah, because see, I don't think it's just Jalen is why I say Eagles and why you got Eagles roster is stacked the gills.
And Jalen really displaced his role.
He's being allowed to play his role this year, and then and they just loaded them up with weapons. Both sides of the line are strong. I mean, they don't have very many weaknesses, and that's why I said it's only about injury with them. Like if injury, but that's the thing that's what happened with the Panthers in 2015. We were 15-0. We ran through the whole league for the whole year, and then we get into the playoffs, and
then Von Miller showed up,
choked. So
Von Miller was coming around that corner all over Cam.
Then Cam was seeing ghosts when he going for the fumble.
Yeah, man. Zerny, microwave era. That's what we're in. In this era, I mean, Steph Curry is a bust. Coming out. I mean, it's a whole bunch of players that just would not make it coming out in this area. Scottie Pippen would have been trash. I mean, I could just name player after player that you could just write them right off. Because Giannis will just be horrible. I mean, I could just keep naming people that it's not happening out the gate. It's not going to.
Exactly. And because these kids are coming out young now. I mean,
so
these are like
college. You played maybe one season in college, if that. You probably got zero coaching. Your coach probably said, just go out and score or go out. And then in college football, man, you only got like 5 different variations of stuff. And they're holding up pictures on the sideline. So you look over and you see a picture of Jmac. You see a picture of FD. You're like, okay, we're running that. And that's just that simple. So now you get to the NFL and you got a playbook that's that thick. And you got Chad Johnson said when he went to the Patriots, he never could learn his plays, man. It was too much for him. And Chad Johnson was a vet.
That's crazy.
So, I mean, and I hope people out there really understand. When you see college football, you see the same helmet, see the same shoulder pads, you see a stadium, it's a totally different sport than the NFL. Completely different. It's like somebody went from playing lacrosse to not in the NFL. It's a totally different sport. Ran, coached, everything, conditioning, everything is different. Speed of the game, everything. That's why you got guys who come from small schools sometimes who may have been a late bloomer, who may have grew late, who may have become a little bit faster late, who may have showed their strength in the weight room later than some other guy that was evaluated at 16, 17. So now they go to 2 different programs. One guy goes to Alabama, You got another guy who goes to Texas Southern or Jackson State or some other school, and then you see him in the pros, you're like, oh man, where did Walter Payton come from? Because he was really a baller. He just didn't get recruited like that. And it's the same thing that happened today.
And I think you're going to see too going forward the way it's really just it's college football keeps realigning, and like the bigger, better teams just keep getting bigger and better. Like Alabama, like they're 3-4 deep, and like so now like their running backs, you really don't know. Like on their bench, their running backs they're all NFL running backs. Probably.
Well, you got to think Alvin Kamara, who's playing tonight. He wasn't starting at Alabama. He was really frustrated, acting out in practice. Coach said, you got to do something with yourself. So then he transferred to Tennessee. Now, a lot of people don't even know he ever was at Alabama. But he had all these other NFL guys who were playing ahead of him. He didn't want to wait his turn.
Yep. And that transfer protocol also now is changing the game too. So like all of the quarterbacks now, if they don't play, they just transfer, to within the systems. So different leagues. And
they're coaches too. You got coaches that's bopping around, moving around, just going for cash here and there. A kid could come into your house and recruit your child and won't ever see him graduate. Probably won't see him become a junior or a sophomore. That coach is gone. Well, before you knew so-and-so coach is going to be here, Bowden is going to be here, you just knew that. The game has changed. We don't even have conferences like what we grew up on. Conferences now are muddied and watered down, and things have changed. And you got Mizzou,
like 16, 18 teams in them.
Yeah, remember back in the day, we used to have bowl week. 7 games throughout the week. Now we have 60. Well, how many bowl games do we have? If you're in a conference and you barely 500, you're probably going to a bowl game.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And then it's and then they're so watered down that players opt out of them all the time now because it's just like
because you want to go pro, you want to get hurt. I'm not playing in this messy game. I'm about to go pro. So you might tune in on ESPN too, but you won't see me.
Yeah.
It's a different ball game, man. Yeah, Kwame Brown probably should have went to college. But I'll tell you this, hey, you get on YouTube and check out Kwame Brown's high school video. Man, he was destroying people. He looked like a man possessed. Then compare him to what you saw with the Wizards for Jordan and with the Lakers. I think he looked up and saw these people, and people really criticizing his game, and they got to him. From the bench, Falcons got one of the best college lacrosse players in the past 5 years on their roster. And Bernhardt, Golden State Warriors, have one in Pat Spencer. I like Pat Spencer. That's good knowledge. I like Pat Spencer a lot. Just thought I'd give you that fun fact. From the bench, I always love your fun facts. FD, there are 43 freaking bowl games. See what I'm talking about? I'm telling you, D, there used to be 7, bro. 1 a day. You could kick it with your family. You knew when the bowl game was coming on. You could watch. You could go over to your grandmama's house early. You were good. Now, before you know it, you could put up 5 TVs, and there's still some games on that you will not watch.
That's so true. No doubt about it.
Game has changed. So tell us, what's in your PC, Jmac?
So it's a lot of a PC Panther. Really, and this is contextual just to the Panthers because I say Panther Legends. So I'm talking, I do PC Cam, I PC Luke Kuechly, I PC Steve Smith. Probably by and large, he's probably one of my bigger PCs.
Steve Smith was he was something else.
Yeah,
I'd love to watch him now on the NFL Network. He was something else.
Yeah, he's definitely a Hall of Famer too. So he'll be in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, because he's like 7th or 8th on receiving yards list on a lot of the stat line. He's top 10.
He haven't had a Hall of Fame quarterback.
No. He and the offense ran through him. He was and started out as a special teamer.
That's right. Running kickoff.
So, first play ever ran one back. It's legendary. You should go look that up on YouTube. Look at Steve Smith's first touch. That was
But see,
that was
this is
legendary.
another player. If you go back in his background, why was he at Utah? If you go back in his background, like, you know, he could have went a whole bunch of other places, but because of his story, he was at Utah. But he's still the bomb. Go ahead.
Yeah, so a lot of that, and then a couple guys, like DJ Moore would be my like prospect of the Panthers, and so I got a crazy DJ Moore. I got a like gold vinyl optic auto 101. You know, I got some crazy DJ Moore stuff.
How you come across these goals, man? Are you buying these, or you you opening wax? Are you opening wax and finding cars? Or are you purchasing these?
No, I usually, so, you know, when I was in Charlotte, right, area, and I was doing shows in Charlotte, people would just come up because DJ Moore is pretty cheap. His stuff's cheap. So people would come up with crazy DJ Moore stuff and be like, basically give it to me, $20-$50, you know. But the 101 was it was a guy who it's actually the whole rainbow. And it was the whole rainbow, and the guy had been trying to sell it to me because he knew I was a DJ Moore collector and Panther fan. He'd been trying to sell it to me for a while, and then when the market started correcting, he actually was selling out, and he was selling out to get into comic books or something. Okay. So he sold me that rainbow for cheap enough where I said I'll buy it.
Hey, let me ask you this. This is a funny fact to me. DJ Moore takes his helmet off, right?
Yeah.
He gets a penalty, right? Travis Kelce took his helmet off last night on the hash and bowled that thing to the sidelines. 0 penalty, bro.
Well, a longtime official came out the next day and said that shouldn't have been a penalty, but it cost him the game. But
yeah, it cost him the game. Yeah. But
go ahead. They still could have won with another field goal that the kicker missed. So
yeah,
we had a couple chances, you know. But that was a crazy epic catch, and that was awesome to see. And DJ Moore is super talented. He's a lot like Steve Smith. Like he could. I think Steve Smith is more talented and more hungry than DJ Moore was and is. But if DJ ever gets a real good quarterback, he's top 5 in the wide receiver in the league. No doubt about it.
I don't doubt that. Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, you know, I digress on that. But that's my PC. And then I was PC in LaMelo as I'm Charlotte, you know, North Carolina.
Go ahead.
But I wind up just getting really like into. I got a series going on Rarity and stuff, and then I started seeing all the parallels, and I was like, "There's no reason for me to try to get all of this LaMelo stuff because there's just so many of them." So I'm keeping like some real key ones. I got like some jersey numbered, low serial numbered stuff, golds, couple golds of LaMelo, and other than that, I'm not keeping anything else. And then on the investment side, I got like, you know, I say investment, but stuff that I'm keeping more long term is like Brady, Steph, MJ, and some vintage.
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to LaMelo. I know some people who tell me, "Hey, FD," on a regular basis, when LeBron James leaves, LaMelo Ball is going to be the face of the NBA.
Maybe.
What do you think about that?
I have seen him play in person too. You know, been to games, and I don't think he'd be like LeBron. I think he'd be more like Magic Johnson. He's that kind of he wouldn't take over the game and be like a LeBron type. He'd be more like a facilitator, like showtime kind of player. He's flashy. He throws some crazy assists. Like there was one, and literally I caught it. I was recording it, and it went kind of semi-viral on Twitter because he slung it sidearm like 3/4 of the court on a fast break, you know, and it was like I ain't never seen anyone else either that or I haven't seen it in a long time that good of a pass that long of a distance. So he's got, I think he, you know, once he gets it all together and he gets and this new coach in Charlotte could help him kind of, you know, find his real role as an NBA player. Steve Clifford. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see. But I think he's very, very talented and raw. And but you know, you got to have a supporting cast, you know, in the NBA, some good players. So And we just seem to. I mean, the Hornets got a pretty decent team, but they're just we always get injured. Gordon Hayward always goes down. Terry Rozier is hurt now.
And you got Bridges. I don't know. Is Bridges going to play basketball again?
Well, he got he pleaded no contest, and then that's kind of working out through courts. But now they're saying like the NBA might come down on him.
I think they will. I think they will.
Yeah, and because they were calling the Airbnb ball to Bridges because their alley oops that he ball was throwing to Bridges were crazy, and I thought that was going to be something, but because I was PCing Bridges too, but when that came down, what he was doing, I was like, I don't even think I could even PC him because of what he was doing to his girl or whatever. I was like, so I don't even feel good about even keeping his cards, from a moral side of things.
Kind of wild, man. Because I remember I started looking at some players and I say, let me just start checking some prices out. And so I went through probably about 2 weeks of just checking Bridges out. And this was beginning of last year, the beginning of the season last year. And I'm happy I didn't purchase any Bridges cards.
Yeah. A lot of even the guys I do PC, even when it was a run up, I still wouldn't pay a lot on them. Like, I personally really liked McCaffrey coming out of college and wanted him to go to the Panthers. And when they drafted him, I was like incensed and excited about it. But his stuff got so hot and went so high. I never really bought much McCaffrey stuff at all, So he wasn't not somebody I got a lot of. And then when he got traded, what I did have, I went ahead and sold it. I kept one RPA, and I'm gonna keep one RPA because he's the kind of guy I think he'll always have a market because what he's already done. Like he had 1,000 rushing, 1,000 from scrimmage, so he's already kind of cemented himself as one of the better running backs, modern running backs. So, but I personally wasn't going to invest in a running back. I wasn't going to put a bunch of money into a running back.
Yeah, it's hard, right? It's hard.
Yeah, even on my own team, I wasn't going to do it. So,
Big John, what's going on? Good to have you here. So this is what Jmac, this is something that I've been excited to ask you about. I'm going to throw some NBA players out there. And I just want you to tell me what you think. What are you seeing? What do you think of? Okay.
What I think about with NBA players? Hold on.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw some names out. You ready?
Yeah, my headphones died, so I'm resetting here. All right.
You good? You good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Ja Morant. What do
you think? Super skilled. Could be. You talk about the face of the NBA. He could be it as well. Score machine, but I think he's going to have to learn a little bit of humility along the way. I think that's going to be his kind of Achilles heel. Because he was talking about taking on Jordan. Are you?
Yeah, he said, quote unquote, I would cook Jordan.
Yeah. So the people even young guys know not to talk like that. So. You ain't done nothing. He ain't done nothing. So, but I mean, obviously, he looks like one of the guys that, and I don't know why people talk about his frame that he might get hurt. He seems like to me he's got a good NBA frame, just a little bit small, little but short, but he's got the hops. And so yeah, fantastic player. But we'll see. You'll see if it really comes down to playoffs. Let's see that get into the playoffs and perform then, and then we'll start talking about you more.
Yep, Luka Doncic,
exact same scenario like Ja. I think him and Ja should and would more than LaMelo. I think would probably be the faces of the NBA in the future NBA if one of them gets a ring. But I was just, in preparation for this, I looked up, so still Luka has still scored over 30 every game this year so far.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11 games over 30 So you would see that and you'd say, you know, all right, this might be one of the best years ever, but is it really though? Is he just playing hero ball? You know?
Well, you know, a stat I always look at is usage percentage. You know, of your team scoring, what they're doing, how much you represent. Luka represents the most of any player on any team.
Yeah, I watched some video of some guy because listen, like Jordan, there's so much Jordan content and Jordan collectors and Jordan. There's this one guy though who took Jordan's career and did what you said, like his usage and his basically when Jordan was playing team ball is when they started winning rings. When he started learning all of his players that he had and how to work with them and use them in the team game is when they started winning rings.
True, absolutely true.
Yeah, so Luka's gonna have to figure that out. But his stats this year, I was looking at him: 36, 8.8 rebounds, 8.6 assists, 2 steals, and half a block. MVP numbers for sure. But again, let's see something in the playoffs. Let's see a ring until we put any of these guys in. Giannis is better than them all right now.
I agree. Abel says Ja Morant selling is Allen Iverson. That's a comparison. I think when they both retire, I don't think you will be comparing them.
Who do you think will be better?
I'm gonna say Allen Iverson.
Yeah. I think AI's ball handling was better than Ja's, but you know, but Ja can jump out of the. I don't know what his vert is. I don't know what his vertical.
Oh, it's something crazy. They showed a slam dunk contest he did in college, where he had 4 or 5 of his teammates line up in a single file. I mean, increasing height by the rim. He jumped over all those people and dunked the basketball. So his athletic ability is never of question.
Correct. Yeah,
that'll never be a question. It's about how do you get this thing done and how do you do it consistently. Because after you win one, you got more work to do.
Yeah, and like I said, that's why I said I looked up Dallas and Memphis's, and they're like Luka and Ja are on almost the same trajectory as far as they missed the playoffs their first year, they made it the second year, and Luka he was one and out the first 2 years, and then he took them to the conference finals last year. Ja was out his first year, didn't make it. Made it and was out the first round, and then made it to one more round the second. So they're almost doing the exact same thing with their teams.
True. Hero 3 says, I think Ja Morant is a Derrick Rose sequel that you wanted to see in Chi-Town. Again, I think when they retire, you won't compare Derrick Rose to Ja Morant. I think people say that now because Derrick Rose's career kind of got capped at a certain number of years in his career, and Ja's reaching those number of years. And then you see athletic, like you say, you see the Boeings, you see guys getting off the ground and finishing. So then you start making comparisons. But I just don't think that once you look at their game, when they both put those sneakers on the rack, I don't think you're gonna compare them. Thoughts on Giannis, NBA and card perspective? I think that Giannis, phenomenal player. Still think that if he does not win 1 or 2 more championships, his career will be capped. This is the truth of it. He can score a bunch of points. He can grab a bunch of rebounds. He can continue to improve his shot and hit a 3. But if he can't bring another championship to Milwaukee, he's liked by everybody. Everybody loves Giannis. His career will be capped.
We'll say he's probably doing more with less than anybody in the league, though, and always has.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
When you got to say Middleton, we need Middleton. That tells you he's doing more with less.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's never had any really, no all-star talent on the team other than him and Middleton. But Middleton's, again, low-key, and he's still, he's not a top-tier player either in the league, but so, I mean, but I like Giannis. I think Giannis was one of those guys, too, where I think he'll always have a good market going forward. I think but some of his stuff is pretty frothy for where he is comparatively to like LeBron or Steph. You know, he's already got some pricing in like Steph or LeBron.
Oh yeah. I was just looking at his card prices the other day. Big John, Derrick Rose has had a nice career after injury. He has. He has. Hero, Giannis' value is underrated big time. I think they get to the big dance this season.
I mean, I think he's starting to get his respect now. I don't think he's underrated. He was underrated, but I think now most people are saying, like even NBA analysts are saying he's the best player in the league now. Everyone was always saying for the past 4 or 5 years it was LeBron. So now when everyone is, most analysts are in agreement that Giannis is the best in the league. When they say who's the best in the league, everyone says Giannis.
Yes.
It just like I said, it's just the last couple of years of the Lakers' demise has. Now everyone's talking about Giannis. I don't think he's underrated. What about you, FD?
I don't think he's underrated at all. I think everybody knows who that is, what game he's bringing to the court. Everybody knows him. But I think this is true. Abel says not playing in a big market. City probably hurts Giannis more than anything. I would personally like for him to get up out of Milwaukee.
Yeah,
I
would say that I don't know if he's talking about just talking about his career in the NBA, or we're talking about the card market, because I think Giannis's card market is overpriced because those daggone Wisconsin folks, those people they got some crazy fans that overpay for their players. So I think some of his prices are overpriced because some of those people, they're gonna pay. Pay up big time for Giannis.
Shane, Robert Moreland. Roger sunk it up yesterday. Is Jordan Love going to be any good? I don't believe Jordan Love is any good. Never have.
No.
Seen him play a couple of times. I just don't see that.
He's never showed anything. I haven't even seen any flashes when he's come in. Any preseason, anytime, really, never.
He really looks scared all the time when he's in the hub. Looks shook up because Coach probably called his name. Hey, right. Joy, you want to go in? Oh, okay. Hero 3, I mean, until last season, people thought AD was in Giannis' league. Did people think that? Did people think?
I didn't really hear that.
Never heard that. I've never heard that.
No.
I can remember when I can't remember his name now. Play in New Orleans with AD. Boogie Cousins. I remember when Boogie Cousins was better than AD.
Yeah. Big man I was trying to think. Who was that center for the Lakers just not long ago, a decade ago?
That one with Kobe?
Huh?
That one with Kobe?
Yeah, with Kobe.
I know you're talking about.
He was the big. They said he was the best big man in the league, And so big men they don't hang around long. But the Giannis isn't really. I don't really consider him he's not really a center. He's like a power forward, right? What position does he play? Does he play center?
I think Giannis is a center.
He's a center. He's a center, but he's not, right?
Well, that's the modern day game.
Yeah,
modern day game. Even if you play center, you got to be able to shoot the three. You better have a range. You got to be able to turn around jumper. You got to have something.
Yeah, but like AD is more of a traditional center than.
But AD doesn't want to play center because he doesn't want to get down there and rebound. So AD is really a power forward, almost small forward.
Yeah,
he has no interest in getting in the paint. He tries to walk around the perimeter of the paint. Yeah, Bynum. There you go. Big John always comes with the info.
There you go.
Bynum, I even met Bynum once in person when I first moved to LA. Oh yeah, not really built to be around the NBA too long. Very slenderly built individual. Andrew Bynum. Demetrius says, I'm being brutal tonight. I'm not being brutal. Just saying what it is. Hero 3, the Mickey Mouse season, people were saying AD the guy going forward. Yeah, AD is not the guy going forward.
No.
I love what you collect. Eric says Giannis is underappreciated.
like I said, I might have would have said that last couple years, but I think he started to get that love. That's just my sort of the temperature I've taken from across the board. But I mean, what a talent though. So
super talent, super
yeah.
talent, super talent. I mean, I'll just say if you took him, put him in LA. I don't know if people like that though. Put him in New York. He's a very loyal individual, man. I just don't see him leaving Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very loyal. I just don't see that.
Yep.
Abo Bynum would have been good, but injuries. Well, I'm telling you, man. Meet this guy in person. He wasn't built to be in the NBA too long.
You can see it, huh?
Not gonna happen, man. Not gonna happen. So Zion Williamson. What's your thoughts?
Well, see, so I'm from North Carolina, and if you're in North Carolina, it's like, in Alabama, it's either Alabama or Auburn. In North Carolina, it's either you're UNC or you're Duke. So I was a Duke fan in North Carolina, and so so I kind of I mean I PC those guys too a little bit, the Duke players. So yeah, I mean I still think Zion could be, but I don't think I see him like a lot of people were speculating on him as being like, like the next Shaq or something, or just the most dominant player. He's more like I think he's more like, I always thought his ceiling was more like Sean Kemp or somebody like that.
But let me just ask you this. J-Man. When you watch Zion play, right? So every time I watch him play, I count the jumpers that he shoots in a game. And 95% of what he does is taking the ball to the cup. He's got to take that ball to the cup.
Yep.
Who have you seen long term be successful strictly taking the ball to the cup?
Well, I mean, even Jordan did that early in his career, and he had to adapt, because you get in there and you get beat up.
And he was playing against people that would destroy him.
Yep. And he could, hang in the air and go around them. He was still getting, he got destroyed because there was that different era. But yeah, Zion, there's too many opportunities for you to roll an ankle and all this stuff. When like you said, if you're going into the paint at full speed, 12, 15 times a game, there's so many chances to get hurt. And, it didn't even just him being a big guy, that is the injury thing. It's like it's like being recklessly playing the game with reckless abandon. He's got to figure some things out. So he's probably gonna need a coach that'll help him do that. But that don't happen as much in the NBA anymore,
No. Now I saw him in the preseason with a coach practicing on his jump shot before the game. But when that game started, he went back to taking the ball to the cup.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
As they say.
It's either a coach nowadays or I'll take that back. It's usually not a coach these days. It's usually getting another player that you will listen to in the NBA now that will help. That can help him reshape his game. But I mean, I'm still pretty high on him. It's just about staying healthy though. That's it.
I think if I was a player. Some people have to turn me away. Like if I was a big guy, like I'm talking to Kevin Garnett, I'm probably going to bug the hell out of Tim Duncan. There are certain people, there are even some B level players that I'm probably going to bug to get in the gym and learn something from.
Right. Longevity, like even like Andre Iguodala on Golden State.
Yeah, and that's a role he serves on Golden State. He's a coach.
Yep.
Well, the way he got at Wiggins in the finals, he's a coach.
Yep. Or like Robert Ory was a guy. When a guy's been on like 4 or 5 championship teams, I want to know what happened on that team. What was the nucleus like? What did everybody do to get there? How did y'all come together to get that ring?
Now these were the things that Kobe Bryant did. Kobe Bryant would bug people, talk to them. Ask people how you playing defense.
Jordan. Jordan was on
Gary Payton. He asked people all kind of questions, man.
Yep.
I just want to do players do that today. Is John Moran asking somebody a question?
Ja's not.
No. Ja's cooking people.
Ja thinks he can beat Jordan.
I would love to see. I wish that could happen. Ooh. Man.
Even just a game of horse, I think right now, even a game of horse, I think Jordan will beat him just to beat him.
Yeah, James Posey was one of those dudes. Yeah. James Posey was nice. I did pull me a Topps Prison 75th anniversary refractor of Zion. That was neat. Hero, you gonna hold on to that? What are you gonna do with that? You like Zion? Who would you prefer to collect, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen? We strictly talking about car values, Josh Allen. We're talking about how I like the way they play the game, Lamar Jackson.
I like them both. I think. Yeah, I mean, it's a toss up. It's a toss up, like because Lamar though he's got a good coach, good system, good everything. Josh Allen, I mean, they're going for it. They were, but here he goes. It's hard to even talk about it now because if he's injured, I mean, that could change the whole trajectory of his career. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm like you. Like Lamar is the most. He's like Ja of football. Like explosiveness, and I mean, you never seen. We thought you had seen it all with Vic. The way Vic play. You're like you're never going to see that again. Here comes Lamar.
Did you watch the Michael Vick documentary?
Was it a 30 for 30 or was it a? I'm pretty sure I watched them all. It's been a while. I can't remember it though.
What got me in that one, which I always thought just from watching him play, is that he really didn't watch film and didn't know how to read defense. He played strictly off ability.
That's crazy.
Just think about that. Think about if that guy would have said, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to study, man, what he could have done. But just watching him play, I always had a feeling of that.
Yeah. That's crazy. Maybe that's like maybe Kyler Murray is that way too, right? Maybe that's why they.
Oh, he's not watching film. Kyler Murray's not watching film.
Yeah.
When they got to put in his contract, that young man's not watching film. What kind of season is he having this year? It's not good.
No, that's it. That's like the difference between Kyler Murray and Lamar is John Harbaugh's a good coach. Right. See, that's why football is such a multi-dimensional sport because it isn't just talent. You got to have, like you said, it's like in NBA, you can like John and Luka, they can will their teams to the playoffs, but they can only go so far. In the NFL, you can't even will your team to the playoffs, but with talent.
No. But the thing is that people fail to realize is that every sport, baseball, football, basketball, people look at film on you, then they change what they do with you, how they defend you based upon what you're good at, what you're not good at. And so Kyler Murray came in doing his thing, but now if you notice, he's not able to run around anymore. The NFL has shut that down. So now you have to stay in that pocket and pass, and that's his weakness. He's not good at. He's not that good at that. Not compared to being multi-dimensional.
Right.
So that's why this season he's gonna struggle, and he's gonna struggle. He's gonna have a hard time. Let me say, each season going forward, because they're gonna slice off something and not allow him to do it. I'm pretty sure every time Arizona's on the field, there's probably a spy on that field, waiting for him to run, and they got a guy who's probably running a 4-4 as a spy, so you don't run away from him.
Yep, absolutely.
And
if they don't adapt and adjust, like the coach and the player, then they're figured it out.
Cardinals 0-3 since the new Call of Duty game was released. Big John says Murray is now 0-23-1 on 2 XP weekends in Call of Duty. Is this true? Is he playing Call of Duty? Big John, let me know something. Joseph, let me know something.
That's funny.
I think I'm going to move that Zion. Something told me that. That's why I asked you that question. I think I'm going to move that Zion for either Brady or Curry. Is it Hero 3? You trying to buy a Curry card? No, not you, Hero 3.
Hey, so you never asked me about on the list. You never asked me about Steph.
Oh, I'm coming in next.
Okay.
I know how you feel. Steph Curry, what do you think of?
Yeah, he's the one. We talk about being underappreciated. He's the player I believe that is underappreciated, and yeah, I mean, so of all of the players in the league, I would say I would invest in is Steph.
I agree with you.
Over LeBron, over Giannis. At
Big
present, Giannis could maybe eclipse Steph, but long term with a bunch more rings, the longevity and ring wise, Steph is that dude, and he will. Like I said in your last live stream when I was on here, and I said it's inevitable that he's top 10, all time.
I have him at 9, and I have him at 9, potentially moving up.
Let me see. I made a list too. I made me a list.
Ooh, we can go through your list now. I can throw mine out to you.
Yeah, I'll give you my list. I'll do it rapid fire.
What you
MJ, Bill Russell, Kareem, Bird. I got at 4. Most people have him lower.
Okay.
Then I got Wilt Chamberlain, Magic Johnson 6, Kobe 7. A lot of people put Kobe down, out of the top 10. Makes no sense. Then I got LeBron at 8. Most people have LeBron in the top 5. So I got him at 8. Then I got Shaq 9, and then I got Steph 10. That's my list. But Steph is the one who I think he's going to slide up. He keeps sliding up. He could probably bump out Shaq and LeBron. Really.
So I got Steph kicking Bird out the top 10.
Okay.
So I got Michael Jordan, Oscar Robertson, number 2.
I got Oscar at 12.
Yeah, Magic Johnson, number 3. Kareem at 4. Kobe at 5.
Okay.
Bill Russell at 6. Hakeem Olajuwon at 7. Tim Duncan at 8. Steph at 9. And Wilt Chamberlain at 10.
I got Hakeem at 11. We got everybody the same.
We're very close. We're very close.
Yeah. And the only reason I got Bird up that high is because not just because of rings and all that. He was one of the first like truly skilled guys who did it all.
He was.
And not only that, I also kind of base it sometimes on what the other players talk about when they talk about the guys. It's kind of like that's why I like the NFL top 100 because it's voted on by the players. So that's why I like LeBron calls himself the king, but no one else does.
Nah. So this goes to Love What You Collect. FD, your real list has to have LeBron James on it. The list you just read can't be right. It is right. I have LeBron at number 11. And you know this, Love What You Collect. I have LeBron at number 11.
Well, see, so look, and I talked about this in my last live stream. I think a couple of these guys were in the chat too during that one, and I was like, the problem is, FD, myself, we unfortunately or fortunately, we saw Jordan play.
That's right.
And then we saw LeBron play. So we've seen them both, and there is not even any when that whole LeBron I'm talking about 5 years ago when everyone was like LeBron or Jordan, and there was never ever that should never have even occurred.
There's no comparison to that.
No, that should never been a discussion because LeBron was never in the clutch stratosphere that Jordan is and was and always will be.
No, totally agree with that. LeBron wants a 3-point shootout there, so then he can be clutch that way. So he can drive, throw it out. That person knocks down 3. Jones, Ray Allen, those guys knock down the big shot. And LeBron was like, yeah. Now, he's hit some shots. And people will say, well, FD, he's hit shots. Yeah, but most of those shots were in the regular season or in playoff games that really did not matter. Not when it was showtime.
And see, I don't like. There was rarely a playoff game that if you watch, and you can, all this stuff is still you can go back and watch Bulls playoff games. There was never a game where very, very, very seldom, I should say, some statistician will come out in the chat and come out with the game that he didn't have the greatest game, but he was always impactful. When you watch the game, you were like, what's Jordan going to do? even if they're down, okay, what's he gonna do now? But with like I went to a Heat. Was it when he was with the Heat? Heat versus Hawks. When I lived in Atlanta, I went to a playoff game with LeBron. And LeBron just had a quiet like 23, like 23-7 and then 8. Like I didn't even his game, that game, I didn't even realize he was there. You know, it wasn't like, wow, I'm watching greatness here. You know, it was like he had a decent game, but he didn't. There was the impact felt in a playoff. It was a playoff game too. So I don't ever remember watching Jordan and not being like, what's Jordan going to do tonight? You know what I mean?
You know, my favorite part of Mike's game was 5 minutes left in the game. You knew Mike was about to take this thing
one-on-one at the top of the key.
He's bringing knock this stuff down.
He's bringing it.
That's just me, though.
I don't think it's all of us who saw it.
Oh yeah. I concur with that. Curry doesn't get the credit that he should. These sports channels give him like 2 minutes a week. It's a disgrace. But you know why I think this is? Curry's the last track. Why I think it is because Curry's boring.
He's a good guy, boring.
Good guy.
Still married.
Married. You see him with his kids. You don't hear nothing about him in the offseason. He's always in shape. He's even right now, Golden State has started out slowly. Curry's averaging 31.6 points a game. What is there really to talk about? He's knocking down threes at one of the best percentages he has in his career right now. What is there to be? What if ESPN is coming on, and we just talked about controversy earlier, and you want to talk about something? You're not talking. Steph balled out again tonight. You're not starting to show out with that. It's nothing really to really get to talking about. There's no headlines on magazines or in the newspaper. So the guy is almost like, you got to find a weakness. The weakness was, he's not Finals MVP, but this year he was Finals MVP. So what else are we about to start talking about now?
Right. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Steph's numbers, he's getting better as a passer, rebounding. Everything.
Playing defense. Big John LeBron could be seen as born off the court, but he also took his talents to South Beach. So that whole thing made him, that's something to talk about. That's something, but in 2010, nobody's talking about Curry. He was trying to rehab himself. That's when LeBron went to South Beach. So now you go with Bosh, you go with Wade, and now with the Heatles. And that's something to talk about. We had a name now. That's not happening in Golden State. And Golden State has a certain culture of how they get down. Draymond is probably going to be the loudest person that you're going to see. Everybody else works within that system. Another interesting thing is that Jordan Poole was in the system for a while before he started shining. You got a Kuminga who wasn't even playing a few games ago. You got Moses Moody who really wasn't playing. You got Wiseman. His minutes have been cut down. They may come back up. That system is not about Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, and these guys who come in and start scoring 20 points a game, but they don't play any defense. It's not about that. Kerr is like Popovich and Phil Jackson. Like, you got to play defense to earn your stripes on the court, to stay out there. Offense will come, but they need you to set those screens. They need you to do certain things. And if you're not doing that, then you're not going to be out there. Now, you may say, hey, I'm looking over here and I see Jalen Green scoring 20 points a game, and I'm Kuminga and I'm sitting on the bench. That's because you're in two different systems. There's different things going on. And Golden State in particular looks for certain players to be on that team because they want certain things out of it.
Like for instance, what we were saying with like Ja, he probably couldn't play in that system. He would have to get humbled, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
He would have to play defense. He's going to set some screens. Hero 3 says Wiseman looked a little lost out there. Maybe it's just me. I think sometimes he does look lost. I will say that. I think sometimes he's trying to understand where is he supposed to be out on the court. I think when he gets the ball, he does not think about scoring unless it's in the course of the offense or defense. He's not out there shooting a jumper by himself. And I've heard them say many times that Draymond tried to pick his scoring up, but even he said last year, would you rather have a shot by me or would you rather have a shot by Clay, Poole, or Curry? What's the higher percentage shot? So I think all these guys on the team, they think, let me pass, set up someone else so they can score. It may not be me, but I'm in the flow of this offense. I'm in the flow of the defense. I think that's how they play.
Right. It's so polar opposite than how most other teams play. So
and that's why I think people look at these young guys on their team. They're like, man, all these guys are struggling. But I can remember when Klay Thompson, and I don't know if people remember this. Draymond was on the bench, people, bagging up Lee. He was on the bench. He was a second-round draft pick on the bench. He came in the games a little bit. Then you start seeing him come in more as he got more experience. His second and third year, you start seeing him coming in a little bit more. Klay Thompson was bagging up Monte Ellis. People forget this. People they wipe this from their minds. I don't know anything about this. Does anybody know who Monte Ellis is?
Oh yeah,
he didn't want to play with Curry. He made that very obvious. I'm not
he
playing.
Scored like 25 a year. He was like a 25
points
point
a game. Yeah. They left and still scored like 20 something for 2 seasons. That's who Klay Thompson was behind. And Curry was trying to get himself on the court. That's where they were. That's why Klay Thompson did an interview yesterday, and he said him and Wiseman are pretty close. And he said he told James Wiseman the other day, at 21, you're doing more than myself, Draymond, and Curry did. But most people will never stop to even think about that. And if Wiseman pans out or not, he still has gifts. He has skills. Will he take advantage of those? We will see. But my gut tells me, I've watched a lot of basketball, that he won't just throw that to the wayside. I don't think we're going to see Kwame Bryant.
Right.
LA 32 past 87. It's funny what a bad attitude would do to you. No one mentions Isaiah, and even though personally I'm not a fan, he rarely gets mentioned as an all-time great. That's because when you say, this is just me personally, I don't know, I can't speak for Jmac. When you say Isaiah Thomas, there's a lot that comes with that. There's a whole history of things after he left the court that comes with that. So that's why I don't think you hear a lot of people talking about Isaiah Thomas.
Right. Yeah. And again, it's like if you watched and how the Pistons and Bulls played, there was a lot there with that too, that respect that a lot of people who watched that era don't have for a lot of the Pistons, but
just like in 91, I always say this, when the Bulls put the Pistons out, Lambeer, Mahorn, and Zeke walked to the locker room. Didn't shake anybody's hand.
Right.
And if you're from Chicago and you came through like I came through back in the day, I was 16 years old when that happened. I'm not forgetting that.
Right. Yeah, again, like the most, I think one of the more underrated point guards is Stockton. He doesn't get put on the list as high as he should. When like even Jason Kidd was like, someone was like, asking him about if he thought he was better than Stockton. He's like, man, he's got like double the assists as me, double the steal. He's got the steals record, the assist record. I mean, the whole they could just never get it done. But his stats, if you look at his stats, he's so far ahead in terms of assists from anybody ever. It's like Wayne Gretzky level of, but it's just a stat that no one cares about as much,
Sure. So I got Stockton 24th on my all-time list.
I got him about 20-ish, but if it between 15 and 20, I can't remember exactly, but
he was a player.
Yeah, but just when like I said, he's just one that people
right.
They don't ever bring him up.
Not talking about John Stockton.
Yeah,
I always think it's cool to see one of his cars, like his Exquisite and stuff. Those are just cool cars to me, and somewhat affordable.
Do you follow Nab Nubs on Instagram?
No, what's Nad Nubs?
NAB Nab Nubs. He's probably got the greatest all of the 90s inserts, like on Jordan. He's a big Jordan collector, Kobe collector. And he's got like the whole Precious Rubies set. and he just got a bunch of Stocktons. That's why he was fresh on my mind because that's this Nab Nubs guy I got. Those are $1,000 cards, every one of them. And let me see if I spell it right for you. But he's a real fun follow just because you'll see stuff you've never seen before.
I want to find him. NAB.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me make sure I'm telling you right.
All right.
Sorry, it's Naz, NAZ_NUBZZ, Naz Nubs.
I follow him already, but I will check him out more.
Yeah.
Okay. MJ, Mamba, LBJ, 90s inserts, rubies, PMGs, credentials.
Yeah, I mean, look, like he's got the platinum. That's the platinum Jordan.
Yeah.
He's got a I'd say multi-million-dollar collection. Like, look, see, there's your guy.
Yeah, see the curve. 505.
And yeah, I mean, so anyway, he's probably got the most impressive NBA collection I've ever seen.
Let's check that out. So LA 32 past 87 says Stockton never won. Zeke carried the team to 2 titles when it mattered. Again, poor sport and bad attitude. Yes, I agree. A great player.
Yeah, Thomas was great. Even Dumars was great. That's probably one of the better backcourts.
I love me Dumars, even though he wasn't.
That's probably the best small guard backcourt ever to do it, probably.
And I'll tell everyone this: when Beer Mahorn and Zeke walked to the locker room, Joe Dumars shook everyone's hand on that court. That's just who he is. Zeke considered the two best franchises and kept the goal out of the top 10 in the 80s. Zeke was a bad boy.
Yep.
Isaiah Thomas. Now you can see him on NBA TV.
Yeah, he's been making his rounds.
Dropping his skills.
He's been working his way up on TV.
So when you talk to people about cars, you're negotiating car deals. How much does the comp of the car play a role into the conversation? Or I know some people that do deals and really don't even talk about comps. What's your ideas on that?
It depends on what the deal is. If it's a single card and if it's a single card and it's a liquid card, then yeah, probably need to look at comps. But if it's a super rare card, then it could be other factors. But I typically when I'm buying, I usually buy bulk lots and or collections. So that I say that I buy that more than I buy single cards and stuff. So I would in a bulk deal, if I'm at a show and it's a bulk deal, I usually just home in on, all right, here's 100 cards. I want to be in at like $4 a card, So that would be a scenario where I don't care what comps are. One of them might be 30, and one of them might be 20. One of them might be 4. It might be a bunch of $3 or $4 cards, but let's settle on $4 or $5 a card. So, I don't get too hung up on it unless it's a graded liquid card.
Understood. Because I know if I really wanted the card and it was rare, I've paid over comp for it.
Yeah.
If I walk away today, when's the next time I'm gonna see this card? If I ever see it, pop under probably 100 or under 50 or under 25. Yeah, I'm not hung up on. Well, this said I'm not.
Yeah, well, like that DJ Moore Rainbow that I bought, I didn't look at any kind. There was no real. I didn't really do much research on it either. I just because the 101 was included in there, the gold vinyl, and I was like, I don't need to. I know it's a good enough deal. It's probably the most I've spent on like a prospect, but it was the whole rainbow. So I was like, worst case scenario is I could sell off everything and just keep the 101. I could sell off the rest, and then someone would eventually, if they wanted to build a rainbow, they still have to come back to me and get the 101.
True.
But so it's all. But I will say that to this point, I did want to say, like, because we talked about like the flippers kind of tried to a lot of the content that was being made for a while there was people like popularizing flipping one card, and that's why I brought up that, you know, really the way I think to really capitalize in sports cards is to buy bulk and to buy collections. So you don't hear people talk about that much. You know, I will say like a couple of the guys with the big channels, they got set up. They set themselves up when they bought a collection one time. Talking about Roth and Kenneth, that one time they bought a big collection. After that, that's when they started buying all the national treasures because they had bought that huge vintage collection. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that.
Yep. Yeah. After that, see, but pre that, those guys were buying like, you know, Jordan rookies, Jordan stickers, you know, smaller cards. After they bought that collection and sold that, their capital went way up.
You also know Whatnot and other places. Drip have changed the game. People are buying collections and selling the cards individually.
Yeah.
At a higher margin.
Yeah.
So that's why you see a lot of people now kind of in content walking around and wanting to buy up a whole table or wanting to buy up these bins that somebody has in the back because they can break that thing down and sell it in a auction format with impulse buying going on.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, you can liquidate a collection now fast if you buy it and get capital, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I know people doing very well on Whatnot. Comic books, any kind of collectible. Cards, autographs, helmets.
Yep. It's all about having an audience. Like I you know, I got on Whatnot, but I don't have a big enough audience, so I didn't have much success on it. But and two, I will say too, I didn't put in the work or consistency to build up an audience. So I guess I might be, you know, bashing it a little bit soon, but that was my personal. The reason I said it because I just dropped a video tonight about Whatnot, so you can watch it. But
I'm gonna check this out.
Yeah, it's a bit of I'm being a bit negative on the video, but that's why I just don't have a big enough audience to and you know. And I feel like some of like Whatnot's really making a huge push right now. Like they're investing into the sports card hobby. They're trying to move into it because they, like you said, they've been big in comics. They've been big in sneakers on the platform. They haven't been big in sports cards. So they're putting a bunch of money into it right now.
Very true. Let's talk about grading. Shane Robert Moreland says grading fees are low again, so we can start to buy $5 to $10 cards to grade. And if you get a PSA 10, you can sell it for a nice profit, like $150 on some. Just bought 12 Mookie Bet refractors for $80. See, I think beyond this. This is just me though. I say if you're PSA or if you're SGC, you want a card in your slab long term, no matter what the value is, because it starts to give a perception of the slab itself. And when you start seeing more of something, it could be a $5 slab, it could be a $50,000 slab. But when you start seeing more of something, then you got brand recognition. So that's why I think these companies are dropping a price on these bulk lot deals to get a bunch of cards through. And then every time that you grade with PSA, you're taking $1 out of SGC. You're taking $1 out of these other companies because now you're grading with them. And since the other companies dropped their price, then why wouldn't we jump into that? I'm speaking in terms of PSA. Why won't we jump in a pool and try to get those dollars? So that's why you think you're gonna see a lot more of this. I don't but they're not gonna upcharge you, so they don't really care if the card was $5 now you can sell it for $150. Bravo to you. But who are you gonna grade with next time? Especially if your profit margin is higher with my slab compared to somebody else's, and now I'm generating more slabs. So if you look at the population of slabs that are being put through every week, every month, PSA is on top of that list.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't lose profit share off a few dollars. So if we talk about looking at comps, they're not going to lose profit share or the number of slabs that's being put through the system because I don't do bulk. Long-term strategy. We talk about long-term.
I mean, it's been fun watching the price wars and watching it drop. I mean, super excited. I've queued up probably I don't know, 5 or 6 bulk orders to PSA. With
Mhm.
you know, for a while, I wouldn't use the PSA because when it was $50, I wasn't sending them there.
Right.
You know, I've literally moved with the prices. You know, so but it's funny now because like you know, HGA, which was pretty much like out of it already. Like now they've I got this email that you know they. If you ever graded with them, which I sent one submission to them, and because I was gonna like just kind of cover them on the channel, make a video about it, but I had such a bad experience, I never even made the video.
Wow,
what
was your experience? What was your experience like?
It just took forever, and then there was no communication, and they wouldn't check in the cards, and I was trying to follow up, find out about it, and then and they wouldn't communicate back, and you're a small company, you know. So it was bad customer service, and then it was like it took a long time, and it was at a time where, you know, grading had kind of, you know, it wasn't backlog like it was, you know, in the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I just felt like it shouldn't have been that bad of an experience at that time when I graded with them, but because I did, if you ever graded with them, they give you this free gold membership now, so they're reaching for straws. And so now, but they dropped the prices to 18 a card or something like that. But I'm like, no, why would anyone? Because now you can grade with PSA, Beckett, and SGC for 18 a card. So,
so see, this is just what I'm talking about. So all these companies you named are taking dollars away from HGA. And then if you look at resale values, when's the last time you saw an HGA card selling
for a premium? There's no premium on it.
No premium.
Yeah.
You might as well take that. I hate to say this. You might as well take that card and put it on your mattress.
Yep. Crack it right on out.
And then another thing is, because I started talking about this a couple of years ago, like you had the mantle and the PSA slab. A lot of people at one point was like, oh, you don't grade vintage with PSA. But if I take that card and put it in that slab, now you can envision your cards being in that slab. That's how it works. So have you seen a $10,000 card or more with an HGA slab? Probably never will. So now that means that they have said that we're only going to grade this market value of cards. That's what they said. I would think someone at HGA would say, we got to try to get a big card on a slab.
Right.
It doesn't happen.
Yep.
People still like slabs for the labels. I've cracked all my HGA slabs and resold them. I think a lot of people have that I've known. They looked at that HGA as a first filter on what the condition of the car was. So far, 6 of 8 HGA 9.5s came back 10s. See what I'm saying? So if it was a 9.5, you already knew it wasn't something that was just sitting in the top roller.
Yeah, well, but I've seen like actually, you know, Merlin.
Mm-hmm.
He just he did it. He did a video. He cracked all companies sent him to PSA. He cracked BGS, SGC, and HGA. One HGA came back a 6. It was like a 9.5 that came back a 6. So it's kind of all across the board. But I've actually, you know what I saw? I saw at here in Arkansas. There's a big show here, a fairly big show, and I went to it. And a guy had a LeBron Topps rookie in his HGA 9.5, and I said, I looked it over, like, dude, there's no way that's a 9.5. And he's like, yeah, you man. He said, when I sent it, like, he said, I knew it wasn't gonna, wasn't gonna get a gem mint. I knew it wasn't gonna get a 9.5 because 9.5 is their gem mint. And he said when it came back, he said, I was surprised. So he even knew his card wasn't. He was expecting like an 8. He just wanted authenticated, And it came back a 9.5, and I said, man, I'd crack that thing out because it's.
You could see through the slab that the card was not.
Well, it was really off center, both top, bottom, and left, right, and they gave it centering 9 or something. It just visually, as soon as you looked at it, you knew that's not a gem mint card, And he agreed, and he's like, anyway, I was trying to haggle with him, and I was trying to get it for real cheap, because it wasn't a gem.
Can't blame. I cannot blame you.
Yeah. So I was trying to work him off of the fact that it wasn't a gym, but what is it? You know, what can we do? I was trying to get it for raw, basically, raw prices.
From the bench, say you still got to be picky when deciding to crack and sub it. I sold a 9.5 instead of cracking because I thought that there'd be a 9.
I've had some SGC 9.5s come back to 9, and so that kind of knocked it down. Lost a little bit of value doing that, but I've never had anything crazy happen with cracking and resubbing.
I just really try to scrutinize the car. I've even had some success buying cars raw off eBay just on pictures. But I'll ask for a bunch of pictures. Like I don't have any qualms, and if somebody won't send me more pictures, then I'm moving on.
Right.
Don't have any issues with it. Jmac, you know I appreciate you being here, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate. I've been coughing a lot. I'm a little bit under the weather, so sorry about coughing,
brother. You're good, man. I remember I was doing lives at one point, and I had a cold. You're good, man. But you're definitely someone that I gotta have back on here again. I would love to come on your channel, but I gotta have.
I was gonna say we got to reciprocate it and
anytime. I used to do it live.
How many times a week do you do this?
I do it live on Sundays and I do it live on Mondays.
Okay, twice a week.
I do an impromptu on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. It all depends on what's going down. But I would love, I mean, you've been added to. You're going to hear from me a lot more. I'd like to have you back on. And it's a bit, I like to talk to different people on different things. So, we think alike on some things. Some things we think differently on. I think that's what adds to the conversation. We're from the same generation, so we've seen. I always tell people, over and over again, a lot of the stuff that we think is. If someone loves, I say this all the time. If you love Ja Morant, do you know who Alex English is? And if you don't know who Alex English is, there's a lot of other basketball you probably never seen. And I'm not saying I've seen it all.
George Gervin, maybe.
A lot of people you can name. There have been players who are excellent players who people don't even talk about anymore.
Dr. J.
I remember I was a kid, man. I come in the room and I tell my father, man, I'm probably about 9 years old, 10. It's like, you got to turn on the TV, Dad. There's this guy named Michael Jordan on. And people say he's better than Dr. J. And my father turns and looks at me, better than Dr. J? There's nobody better than Dr. J. So he turns on the TV, he gets real quiet. He's just sitting there. Just sitting there and watching. Then he's like, hey, that was a good play. Oh, man, that was a good shot. Then he turns to me after about 15, 20 minutes and he says, he's a good player, but he's got to play a long time to be better than Dr. J. And if you remember, Sports Illustrated did a cover. Let me see if I can pull this up. Of Michael Jordan in a doctor's outfit. And they were comparing him to Dr. J. And this is why I say certain players, when they retire, you will no longer compare them to another player. Nobody's comparing Dr. J and Michael Jordan now. It's not happening.
Right.
Let me see if I can find this. I always thought it was interesting.
I don't think I remember that. You said Sports Illustrated did it.
Yeah, Sports Illustrated.
Huh.
Mike was young as a doctor. Let me find this right quick.
See nothing coming up.
Let's see here. I've seen this picture many, many, many times. And while I'm here, I can't find
it. Was it an article? Oh, there it is. The next Dr. J. Yeah.
He had a stethoscope around his neck.
Huh?
He had a stethoscope around his neck.
Yeah, blue scrubs on.
Yeah. That's a comparison to Dr. J. But that would never come up today. No one's talking about that.
I've never seen that picture before. It was the Sporting News. It wasn't sports.
Okay, let me see if I can grab this. Sporting News.
It's called The Next Dr. J.
Yeah. Yeah. This is it right here. But this was back when you're comparing this young guy to Dr. J. Nobody's doing that now, man. That's why when you say Ja Morant or Allen Iverson or Derrick Rose and Ja Morant, when those guys hang up their sneakers, there's no longer a comparison.
Yep.
But I can remember when Mike was young, it was always a comparison to Dr. J. Always. Is this the next Dr. J? Always. That's what most people. I look at a player and I challenge myself to look at them for who they are. Because when's the last time we ever saw somebody play a sport just like somebody else?
Right.
Especially running backs, quarterbacks. Tom Brady doesn't play like Joe Montana. It's hard to compare them because they don't play alike.
Right.
They don't even run the same kind of offense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think each great has their own uniqueness.
They do it in their own way. It's just like boxers. You would never teach someone to fight like Mike Tyson, probably. They couldn't do it. Or fight like Muhammad Ali, throwing the jab off your back foot, leaning back. You would never teach that. You stepping into the jab. That's what you teach. But when you're on another level, you do it your own way. And that's why I always say, if you don't know Alex English, how you going to tell me about Ja Morant?
Yep.
That's just me, man.
Yep. There's something about something about experience and being through some things. But anyway,
yep.
No doubt.
I'm not claiming that I know it all.
Oh yeah, no.
I thought Leftwich was going to be not Leftwich. Who was the quarterback that came out the same year as Peyton Manning? Washington State.
Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf. I thought Ryan Leaf was going to be better than Peyton Manning. Completely wrong.
Yeah. Quarterback's a tough game. It's a tough game to figure out because, like you said, like even with Peyton, you know his first year it was terrible. So it doesn't pan out in most scenarios until couple few years. You know.
Yep, you got to read, you got to understand, you got to get, and that's when Peyton really started getting into watching film, understanding defenses. That's when you start seeing them all over at the line. That was down the road.
Yep.
You got to think Peyton Manning's rookie year, second year, Marshall Faulk was his running back. Nobody talks about that. Not even.
Yeah, man. You remember they were once Brady finally came on the scene. You know they were comparing Brady and Manning, which are completely different players.
Yeah, totally different.
Yeah.
How they approach the game in the huddle, everything. How they throw the ball, everything's different.
Yep. So it's like you said, everyone, all of the greats are unique. So,
brother, I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, let's hook up again. You come over. I'll come back anytime. Let me know.
All right, and you let me know when you'd like for me to comment. I am there, man.
Yeah, sounds good. Probably be a couple weeks because I'm next week I'm doing a 2-day show here's the thing, we didn't touch on it, but so I used to do all of the Charlotte, like the Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, a lot of those shows. And then I moved here and I had to find new shows. So I'm venturing out. There's a show in Memphis that I do that's pretty good. There's one in Arkansas. I'm doing a Kansas City show, Kansas City, Missouri. Doing that one pretty soon. There's a decent one there. But next weekend I'm doing a show in like Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I've never been to that area. So this is all within kind of like a 4-hour radius of where I'm at. So I'm trying to find the shows locally.
Well, I can't wait to hear about the Tulsa show. That's a market that I don't get a lot of feedback from.
No, I know. So it's a 2-day, and I'll make a vlog each day. So it should be fun. But the reason I'm doing that and not going because the bigger shows are seemingly slowing way down. The big 500 tables.
I heard Dallas this past weekend was much slower.
Was slower, wasn't?
Was.
Yeah, the big shows is just So that's why I'm trying to stick to the little local network right now. The local 50, 100, 250 table shows. I think they're gonna make it. I don't know if the big shows are gonna do that well.
See, this is my thing. Like big shows are a destination. So if you're in a local show, you can drive to it. It's not that far away from you. You can get back home.
That much.
It doesn't cost that much. But this is how I think Vegas kind of flipped, because Vegas now is a destination show. There are certain places you really got to get there. But to me, that argument is contradicted by what just happened in Dallas. You would think Dallas is a place where there's a big show. There aren't a lot of big shows in the area. More people go to Dallas, but it seemed like people didn't do that. But we're getting close to the holidays.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Gas prices are high. A lot of things are happening. So the next level is, what do I invest in or what do I buy for the hobby? May take the backseat to some other stuff. So I can't wait to see your vlog on the Tulsa, Oklahoma show, see what that market is like, and kind of pick your brain on what you see out there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It's definitely that's the thing out here is that for me everything's new because I never really explored any of this area. So every time we go for a drive around here, it's like, wow, this is different landscape, everything. So it's fun. It's fun to check out new stuff. So
oh yeah. I know you'll have fun at the show, and it'll be a good show for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Jmac, thank you very much, brother.
All right, y'all.
I will talk to you.
Yes, sir. Rolling with FD.
Thank you, brother.
All right.